Well, hello, and welcome back to another exciting edition of Coffee with Stephen. So, this week's blog is entitled The Expert, and we talk about one specific individual. We'll get to him in a second. Now, as many of you know, I am an attorney, and I actually serve in a number of different roles when it comes to cases and conflicts. 90% of the time, I operate as defense counsel for individuals that have been involved in some sort of use of force or something like that. I do, from time to time, operate as a consulting attorney. Effectively, I get hired by other attorneys to assist them in the management of their particular case. And then every so often, I get hired as an expert witness. Now, this is candidly probably one of my favorite things to do. This is where I get to pontificate in front of the court on a certain aspect of fact. Unfortunately, I really don't get to, get into details of the law. That's really the purview of the judge. But I do get to explain certain facts, usually as it relates to firearms and sometimes even firearms law. We have a number of cases that are currently being litigated right now that focus primarily on civil rights. In the particular instance here, these are cases that involve Second Amendment rights. So we've got before Judge Benitez the Rody v. Bonta case. We've got the Miller v. Bonta case. We also have Boland v. Bonta in front of another course and Renya v. Bonta. So there's a number of challenges to California's statutory regulations of firearms specific as to whether or not they're constitutional in a post-Bruen environment. We've talked about New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruen a number of times, so I won't go into that here. Well, the state of California, they, especially as it relates to assault weapons, which are being challenged, and I use the term assault weapons, of course, with somewhat of air quotes on it, they wanted to show, well, I'm not entirely sure what it is they wanted to show, but they wanted to hire an expert witness that would effectively say that, AR-15s are bad. Okay. Now, why that has any legal relevance at all remains to be seen, but they felt compelled to do this. And they hired the esteemed retired colonel of the United States Marine Corps, Craig Tucker. Now, if you've never heard of Colonel Tucker before, there's a reason. He really hasn't done that much. Now, he does have a fairly substantial pedigree of what he did while he was in the Marine Corps, and I really don't want to diminish the work that he did in the service of our country. A lot of it's very, very good. But as it relates to weapons systems, the good colonel seems to have kind of gone off the rails. In his declaration, which I have right here, he says a number of things that honestly I didn't even know. Okay, one of my favorites, and I'll just flip through this real quickly here. Appears on page 5 of his declaration on line 18, and I'll just read it to you verbatim. The AR-15 and M4 are both designed to fire a .223 round that tumbles upon hitting the flesh and rips through the human body. A single round is capable of severing the upper body from the lower body or decapitation. The round is designed to kill, not wound. And this is the biggie here. And both the AR-15 and M4 contain barrel rifling to make the round tumble upon impact and cause more severe injury. Now, this is laden with a number of those types of factual allegations. So anyone who has ever shot a rifle before should understand the basic principles of a rifle and, in fact, why it's called a rifle, okay, as opposed to a smoothbore. So for those of you who don't know, the reason a rifle is accurate is that inside of the barrel, there's rifling. All right, it causes the projectile to spin as it goes down the rifle barrel. This will create better external ballistics. It allows it to fly in a straighter pattern. Probably the best analogous description of this, imagine a quarterback throwing a football. But rather than throwing the football and spinning the ball so that it flies spinning through the air, he just lobs it. So it effectively starts to tumble, okay? It's not going to be as accurate. It's not going to fly as far. The same principles apply to a ballistic projectile. That spin allows it to fly at a greater length with a higher degree of accuracy. It bears absolutely no relevance whatsoever to the terminal ballistics. What happens to that projectile when it ultimately hits the target? That's a separate factor altogether. And Colonel Tucker should be well aware of this, okay? And yet, he went ahead and made that factual allegation, which is fundamentally untrue. And there are a whole slew of them in this declaration. Anyways, if you read the blog, you'll see all of these different things. My general impression of his entire opus of work and what relevance I think he has to this debate going forward. Anyways, I do hope you read the blog. It comes out, of course, on Wednesday. It can be found at www.artemishq.com/blog. And of course, as always, I want you to train constantly, train consistently, train repetitively, and train with purpose. Above all else, stay safe.